Okay, let's go.
He wants to jump
1,000 cars. Sir, you have 1,000 cars.
I don't think I'd attempt to try this stunt.
Or we owe this horsepower to Uncle Sam.
Too many cars.
Car.
Roses would be.
Like I put my beer belly on it.
If you can't immediately tell somebody how many cars you have,
you'll really give those uppity yuppies something to think about.
Stay on the bar. Don't go off the bar with your Bronco.
1980 Volvo horns, what's right? I want a man's coolant.
and he's like, "Oh, I thought it'd be small. It's for a small car." And I'm like, "Yeah, but it's still an automatic transmission. They're never going to be light."
It's definitely going to have to crash.
Starting off with Brad buying another car.
That's the West. Internet.
Is this a Nigerian oil print?
I also wish you drove a tan Camry.
Anyways,
Anyway,
that's a
horrible,
very
horrible podcast content.
very
Talking about a picture.
inside joke.
It loves to be driven hard.
Do auto off topic. How goes it, Brad?
It goes wonderful, Andrew.
Yeah. We are back with another episode.
As much as I'll say.
Yeah. We actually took some questions for this episode.
Yeah, it had been a minute since we've done a listener question episode, so we presented that to the listeners.
I would say even more than a minute. Like even in the slang term, maybe it's been an hour.
Yeah, it's been a few minutes for sure, if not an hour. It's been a long time. We have not done a question episode in quite some time. So I figured it was due. The only issue is, to further my rant last week about Instagram and Facebook and algorithms, we don't post enough on the auto off topic pages to get any traction with these questions. So thankfully we did get 8 or 9 questions, so we do have something. But it's hard to get questions without paying for promotion when you have a page that's flagged as a business, even if your business isn't a money-making business. But it is what it is. I do have to thank you, actually, because after podcast last week, you did tell me you instructed me how you fixed your Instagram algorithm for what you're seeing anyway. And I didn't know it was possible to do that. And I've had the most pleasurable Instagram experience the past week where I'm not seeing a bunch of stuff I don't want to see. And my page has gone back to mostly just the car content that I want. So
You gotta
I'd like to
work
thank
for
you
it a
that.
bit.
Yeah.
You gotta curate that feed.
Well, I curated the feed, but the problem was all the suggested stuff that was coming to me that I was not curated in any way, shape, or form, other than by other people who I follow, their algorithms pushing it towards me. So thankfully, that is gone. And my only annoyance now is when somebody reposts something, I still see it, which I don't know why that's an option now, but it is apparently an option now. I don't
You
like
gotta you gotta look at your feeds are like gardens and you gotta keep them weeded and pruned to keep them the way you want. Otherwise they get unruly or other people take them over and then you get fed stuff you don't want.
Well, and that's what was happening, and it was causing me anger during the day because I'm seeing things like I try to, we don't talk about politics in this podcast, so we're not going to talk about it now. And I try to avoid that when I'm scrolling through Instagram looking for pictures of cars. 'Cause that's what I enjoy looking at. But then I get fed content that makes me angry, and it feeds the anger machine, which is what social media seems to have gone to be nowadays, right? Anger sells. And I don't want to be angry all day. I just want to look at cars. Like there's a time and a place for things. And it used to be we'd subscribe to 4 or 5 different car magazines, and the substitute for that now is scrolling through Instagram. So that's what I want to do. I want to see car stuff. And it's thanks to your little advice there, I've gotten back to a lot better of that. And I only see things that I choose to see. So much better. Much better. Can't do anything about the ads though, but that's what it is. Anyway, where were we going? Listener questions? Is that what we're talking about?
Well, why don't we do if you've got some project updates first and we'll talk NASCAR because you actually went to the race. So
I did go to the race. It was
yeah,
an excellent time too.
yeah.
Project car updates. I have one quick one. I didn't do any work at all. I paid somebody to work on my car, which is always like a fear, I guess. Like you don't want the wrong thing to happen. You don't want the person to do the thing you didn't ask him to do, or damage the car, or tell you that you're crazy and you can't do what you want to do. But thankfully, it worked out very well. Um, I lack two things to weld here in the garage. Um, one of which is, the skill to be a welder. I'm not a welder. And the other one is a welder. So I have not nor the skill nor the equipment to weld here in the garage. So at this moment in time, until I purchase some equipment and learn, I guess, not perfect, but get better at welding, I will anytime I need something welded, I will still be pushing that off to somebody else. So I had the exhaust fixed in the Merkur. I think I talked about having it done last week, but now it's actually done. And there's a exhaust shop around the corner from me called Big Jim's, not roast beef, just exhaust. Um, that's a very North Shore joke for North Shore people who know that most roast beef places are called Big Jim's. Um,
Yeah.
Big Jim's roast beef. Yeah, there we go. Big Jim's custom exhaust in North Phoenix. I will highly recommend them. I've known about them in the past. I've never personally used them for my personal cars, but a shop I used to work at used them often for little exhaust repairs. And I know he does full custom exhausts and he's okay working on non factory stuff. And he was excited to get it in there and get it worked on, and he put it up in the air. He went through the whole car and he called me and he said, "Okay, this exhaust is obviously custom," which we knew going into it. And I told him that ahead of time.
Yep.
He said, "It's way too big for the car." I said,
Yep.
"Yes, it's probably about a 3-inch exhaust." He went through the exhaust and he said, "The exhaust is too big. It doesn't really fit. I'm going to do my best to make it fit." He said, "The problems you're having with the exhaust are twofold." He said, "One, it looks like it was an aftermarket kit, not like custom built for the car, and it's all slip fits and the U joint bolts, so the U bolts,
Mm-hmm.
and it has a couple of hangers on it that don't seem like they were well thought out. And as you drive the car, they probably vibrated and they cracked and fell off." He said, "So the problem is this was probably done to be a bolt-on kit, and they probably used factory hanger locations, but with the extra size of the exhaust, it will never stay using those locations, especially with the slip fit joints instead of being welded, because what will happen is different pieces of the pipe will move and then it will put extra strain in other areas and it will crack." He said, "So you have a couple issues with that." He says, "Number one, I need to make some new mounts. Number two," he goes, "I'd like to weld up where the slip fits are so they're no longer slip fit and they have a welded connection so that'll make the whole exhaust stronger and less likely to fail in the future." To which I said, "Yeah, I mean, that sounds like a great idea. So let's do it." Um, the exhaust is 3 inches from the turbo back, so it's definitely a very free flowing exhaust system. And this car, if you slap the new turbo on it, would probably make a ton of power. So that'd be cool. But that's for the next owner to take care of. So he added a couple hangers, one in the middle of the car at the back of the transmission, and one at the back of the car by the rear subframe. He tucked the exhaust up the best he could. It still hangs a little bit low in the front, but not to the point that it scrapes anymore. So that's good. And he welded where the slip bits were. He took the U bolts off and he welded it around like a full custom style exhaust system on the car. Went down there to pick it up. He quoted me a price that seemed too low for everything he did, and he honored that price. He added $30 to the price for a couple of the hangers that he had to take out his inventory, which is totally fine because the whole exhaust is $180 to fix, which I feel is incredibly reasonable for the work that was done. It fits perfect. It sounds perfect. He fixed a couple of leaks because a couple where it was hanging low. One of the things that hanging low had caused was the spring bolts had started to loosen up, and one of them had backed off all the way. So he put new spring bolts and new bolts on, and then he welded up, like I said, the slip fits. There's no leaks in the car anymore. The car sounds absolutely incredible. It sounds like a proper sports car exhaust now. The car sounds really good. It doesn't sound too loud. It's got a nice mellow tone to it. Naomi actually drove the car to work today, and I heard it pull back up when she came home, and I was like, "Oh man, that car sounds so good." So the car sounds really nice. It's definitely going to make the next person quite happy. I'm quite sure. So last things last on that car is order some new tires and wait for an opening on I think the Haggerty auctions is where we're going to go. So I was trying to avoid auctions, but I think it's going to be the best move to get it in front of the right amount of people. And I feel dirty using cars and bids or bring a trailer. And so the Haggerty auction seems to be a little bit less. Um, I don't know. Seems to be a little less stuffy and a little more like enthusiast driven. I'm not trying to go to bring a trailer and catch that bring a trailer. I have the one Merkur that sold for $75,000. Like I don't want that. I want to go to a good enthusiast for a reasonable price, and Haggerty seems to be the marketplace for that right now. So might as well take advantage of that Haggerty Drivers Club membership free listing, right? So that's the future I think for that car. But overall, I'm pretty happy with where that car is at. Um, I've said it before. I think I didn't give it a fair shake in the past, but now that I've gone through everything and the car runs and drives really nicely, I mean it's gonna make somebody a good car. I would get in that car and drive it cross country now. Like it's just good. It just goes. I took it actually to we're gonna talk about shortly, but I drove it to the NASCAR race on Sunday. Um, and it just drove out there, drove back about an hour and a half to get back to the traffic, about an hour on the way there. Here's the traffic. Track's only about 30 minutes away, but it takes a little longer to get there when it's an actual race. But the temperature never went above like a quarter on the gauge. Everything seems to work. I mean, it's the car is a pretty good car now. So somebody will be pretty happy with that now that it's sorted. So and getting rid of it will make room to finish the Starion. So that should be the big update next week because there's a bunch of parts coming in tomorrow. Some today, some tomorrow. Anyway, that's my project car update. That's the only thing I worked on this week. And you said you did not touch anything this week, Andrew.
No, I've just been touching the little cars, the little RC cars.
Hey,
That's
still
all.
want you there.
Yeah, I got electronics in the TTO2 project, turn it into a drift car. Maybe I talked about putting electronics into the load transfer car. That's
Yep.
all basically set up. I'm like working on bodies for him. I started on the RX-7 body for the TTO2 because I'm working up to the other body for the uh, LTS car because it's a multi-piece body, so I'm a little nervous about it. But
Gotcha.
also, I'm getting used to like trying to practice painting. So I've got another body. I need my current drift chassis that I've been using a lot. The RD20 needs a new body because I've kind of worn that one out. And also, I want something different. I'm tired of looking at it because I've been using it at least once a week for 6 months. So I want like a new body. So I've got the Yokomo uh, Pandem GR86. So it's kind of a wide body kit to it, so I can run slightly wider wheels.
Sure.
Because I can talk about the competition I went to. For doing competitions, you kind of want a slightly wider stance and wider wheels. Um, so you know the other
Why
two
is that?
car. Well, yeah. So I'm just saying the other two cars are more scale builds, fun stuff, something I want. But if I want to use the RD20 to compete, I kind of want wider wheels. Well, You want to get a wider track, and you can widen the track in the front for more stability. And you need a wider body to do that because certain rules you can't just have the wheels sticking out. There's like a max amount the wheels can stick out. So of the body work because they just don't want people doing anything. So, yeah. On Sunday, there was the first drift event of the Scale Drift series for the. Um, I don't know how it works. It's like it feels like it's per track. They all have like their events, and then like you can gain points and then go to maybe a regional or something. I'm still learning about it, but like my local track is going to have 5 or 6 events over the year, and then a finals. But also the other local track had their own version of it, so I'm not sure. But regardless, they had 32 drivers, so they do a 32 person bracket, and it's pretty interesting. So they set up, uh, it's part of the course. It's not the whole track. So they set up a start, and then they lined up zones. So basically, like drift zones through certain parts of the corner and clipping points. And basically, during the drivers' meeting, explained interestingly with a old RC body on the end of a Swiffer, uh, like the Swiffer, like dry duster, like a dry mop. He put the
That's very
body on the end
handy.
of it, and basically walked and showed everybody like this is the ideal line that you'll be judged on. If you can run this line, you will get the most points. And basically, there's 3 judges, and they watch the whole run, and they confer with each other, and they're experienced drifters that have won events, and they just know by watching your car how much angle you get, where you are, where you place it, and like hitting the certain points that they want you to hit, the clipping points. That's how they score it. And I think it's like maybe, I think it was like 30 points per section that each judge was watching. So, I still don't know enough, like a lot about it. Like I'm still learning about it. So it was very interesting to watch. I brought my camera, I took a lot of pictures, I put them up on the internet. You can see them. Uh, taking pictures was interesting because of the zones. It gave me something to aim for. I was like, I wish real motorsports had this kind of.
I
But
mean, real
anyway,
drifting does.
yeah, yeah. I guess I never shot a professional drifting. I've shot like amateur stuff, but which is mostly like just people out messing around, kind of like what we do regularly with drift cars. But I never actually been to a competition. But anyway, it's interesting because so you have 32 people, and then the first thing they do is qualifying. So every person does solo 2 runs, and that's their qualifying that seeds them in the bracket. So like that I
It's
kind
a
of
long
wasn't.
day.
It actually goes really fast because the runs only take like 20 seconds. It's only a few like 20 or 30 feet. And it's both serious and unserious. Like it's serious enough that we move it along, but it's not so serious. It's just tiny cars, right? But it's like I don't know. It just didn't occur to me that you've got like 45 people standing there, uh, and you have to do a run by yourself. With everybody's watching you
Yeah.
qualify. So like
Yeah, you get
there's
an
that pressure.
audience.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there's like that pressure to do a good run,
Performance anxiety. Yeah.
and and then it's like when you're watching golf on the putting green, everybody's like claps afterwards. Like it's like okay.
Okay. You hit the
So
wall,
like
everybody goes, "Oh."
yeah, yeah. But like even if you have a bad run, everybody's like, like because there's several people that had never done it before, and they like kind of didn't do so great. But once they finished, everybody was like, "All right, man." And then like one person kind
How
of
long you
messed
look
up.
from here? Yeah.
Yeah, one person kind of messed out like right out of the gate, and they were just like, "Just start over. Like start over. Come on. We want you to."
Again, that's that unserious but serious bit right there. Like we
Yeah,
don't want people to get discouraged, so
yeah.
let's make it
Just get
fun.
seated.
Yeah.
So you do your runs, you get scored, um, and then that starts. Then you move to the battle rounds. So the battle rounds are you start with the top seeded person versus the lowest seeded person. So that's a little rough to watch sometimes because it's like and to this guy's credit, he's only been drifting for like a month. I've been drifting for 4 months, and I didn't want to do the competition because I was too nervous. So he went out
Sure.
and did it, and of course, this guy that's really good, who spoiler alert, ended up winning the whole
Wipe the
thing.
floor with them. Yeah.
Yeah, but it was like, all right, man, that's good job, you did it.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. He got over his beginner's anxiety and just did it.
yeah, so that you go through all the people like that, and then it gets into you know you do the first round, and then it's just goes off like a bracket, and you get down into the you know you go from 32, 16, 8, right, 8, 4, and then the winner.
This is how math works. Yes. He
Yeah,
was 2, but it's okay. We'll let it slide.
I was trying to think. Yeah, what I don't watch March Madness, so that's the only time I usually think about brackets or hear about them.
Should divide by 2. You're fine.
Okay,
But that
so yeah,
Salem high school education did good work.
it's not bad. It's the not sports guy. I don't really pay attention to brackets. So, um, yeah, because I mean, even the in season bracket in NASCAR last year was like dumb. Like it didn't work at all.
That was dumb, and they're not doing it this year. I don't think.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Um,
that didn't make sense to even sports people. That was just dumb.
yeah. So yeah, that it's interesting. And so then, I'm watching it. I took some cool pictures and I'm like, doesn't look too bad. So then last night we're just, messing around practicing and I'm trying to run the line and I'm like, man, this is way, way harder than I thought. So I was starting to get it after a while, but my tires were kind of worn out. I didn't have fresh tires like you. Part of the entrance fee of the competition is that you'll get 4 brand new tires too. So I was running on very
Nice.
old tires. I think newer tires would have helped me out. I was struggling for some traction, but
Yeah, probably that
um,
wider stance.
yeah. Well, we changed spec tires too. So, um, but yeah, it's the wheel width doesn't change. It's still a 26 millimeter wheel, but the track width of the car would change. So,
Yeah, because you can
um,
put different offset wheels on, right?
yep, yeah. And actually, the ones I'm going to put on are 8 mils, and they are so I'm running like 5 mils with 1.5 spacers in the front. So, um, but they're kind of stiff. So the ones I have are high traction, so they're very soft wheels, so they actually flex, and it's totally legal to run those. Legal. I didn't say illegal. You can run, so you'll actually end up with more traction that way to help with grip. So that's the other thing I have to learn. I don't quite understand. Even watching it, it's hard to follow the lead follow. So like the chase lead dynamic
Yeah, it looks
of like
incredibly difficult.
yeah, because you're trying to match. I guess you're sort of trying to match the lead, but you can't touch them, but you can't let them get too far away. You can't touch the wall really hard. Like this, it, it's very, it's very subjective the way they judge it, and it's
Yeah, the guy in front has to have like good angle and carry good speed and hit the clipping points, and the guy behind has to maintain a similar, has to stay close
yeah,
and do what he does. So the guy in front leads, and the guy behind is just basically copying what he's doing. And the
yeah,
closer you can come to copying it, the better points you get, right?
yeah. It's kind of like horse, I guess,
Yeah, that makes
sort
sense.
of. Um, so yeah, I'll practice some more. The next one's May. I'll see if I have the guts to do it. I mean, there's no, it's like $40 or something. There's no,
Yeah,
you're not
and
gonna
if
win
you
anything.
fail, you just do it again
Doesn't
next
matter.
time. Like it's not a big
Yeah.
deal.
Yeah. That's why I gotta get over, like, my old competitive nature of it. Like, it's no big deal. Like, who cares? If you it doesn't matter if it's that thing of like, I don't really care if I'm lousy at this because I just enjoy doing it, right?
Yeah, 100%. you're doing it for fun. The competition then becomes for fun. There's no more at stake than you and me at 17 years old playing Gran Turismo. Like
Yeah.
it's the same. It's the same level of competition. Like it's just for
Yeah.
fun.
Exactly. So anyway, that's what I got up to. How's the NASCAR race?
Yeah, let's talk about NASCAR real quick. A little different flavor this week because I went to the event. And we'll get to listener questions afterwards. So the episode's not over afterwards. So if you don't want to
No.
hear NASCAR, fast forward a little bit.
Yeah.
Otherwise, stick around.
Yeah.
Um, it was fun. I haven't been to an event in a couple years. I think I went to the spring race in 24 was the last one I went to. I don't remember why I didn't go last year. I shouldn't go to either race last year. Busy. Life was chaotic last year. Um, things have calmed down a bit this year, and I've been jonesing to go to an event in person. So this made the most sense. I have figured out, and I don't know if this works for every track, but it definitely works in Phoenix right now. And it's the same way I went in 24. I waited until the day before the event and I bought tickets on StubHub. They were significantly cheaper than buying them in advance. Um, I think I paid $55 a ticket for 2 tickets.
That's pretty good.
So, yeah, it's significantly less money. And Phoenix has free parking and has plenty of parking.
Mhm.
And they have free shuttles from the parking to the racetrack. So there's no issues with any other cost if you don't want to. And because NASCAR is one of the few sports that allows you to bring your own beverages, no booze, you can't bring alcohol. I don't know if that's new or not. I think it was allowed last time I went.
Yeah.
You can bring
Interesting.
a cooler, but you can't bring alcohol in the cooler.
Mm.
But whatever, I don't drink that much anyway, so it's fine. I packed a cooler with a bunch of Polar and some bottles of water, and I took Roberto to his first NASCAR race.
Nice.
Naomi's daughter Courtney's boyfriend. He lives in town here, and he's a big sports guy. He's never been a big NASCAR guy, so he's now a big NASCAR guy. All it took was one in-person event, and he's
Oh yeah.
100% hooked.
It's the
Um,
sound and the smells and
the sound, the smells, the feel, like
yeah.
everything about it, just
It's
and it
sports.
doesn't hurt. Yeah, it doesn't hurt that he's a big basketball guy and is a big
Yep.
Jordan
There you go.
involvement right now.
There you go.
So that certainly helped his getting into it. He's a big sports stats and like player name guy too.
Tons of it in
He's
NASCAR.
already like, yeah, he's already learning the different drivers and the teams and different stats, and he's way into it, and it's super cool to have been able to give him that. Um, he quickly picked a driver to root for, based on just like pure vibes, man. And he picked Suarez, and
All right.
our first stop was the Spire trailer, and
Nice.
I bought him a Suarez T-shirt. So that's pretty cool T-shirt with a big sugar skull on the front, like Mexican sugar skull, and a racing helmet in the back, and the number 7 on the sleeve. It was a pretty cool shirt. So he was rooting for him all day. Very disappointed when he got taken out in the back in the Logano incident. But
Yeah.
yeah, it was a good time. It was a really good time. Our seats were I was a little annoyed with myself because I had 2 windows open and I decided on which seats I wanted, and I somehow chose the ones I didn't want, but that's okay.
Oh.
We're still there. The only issue was that I know that track, and I know that part of the track stays in the sun for the whole race,
Oh no.
and part of the track goes in the shadows before the end of the race, and I stayed in the sun the whole time.
Ugh.
But it's fine. Listen, I brought my sunblock, and I was okay. I was just tired, but I wasn't burnt, so that's good. Roberto, on the other hand, was a little toasty, but it's okay. He'll be fine. He's young. So anyway, it was a good time. Um, I bought a 2311 hat because I don't like any of the hats on their website. So I went to the trailer and they had a couple of hats that they don't sell on the website. And I got a nice
Nice.
little subtle Bubba Wallace hat. It's got a little number 23 in the bottom left side of the front and the 2311 logo on the side. Very subtle. As you pointed out before we started recording tonight, it's to anybody who doesn't know, it just looks like a Jordan hat.
Exactly.
So yeah, it was a real good time. Um, we were at the backpack cooler, so we had plenty of beverages, stayed hydrated the whole time. I remembered to bring earplugs. I guess I should probably say Naomi remembered to give me earplugs. So that was nice to have because normally I forget earplugs and I get annoyed with myself. But overall, it was a good race. Our seats were pretty good. We couldn't have been any further down turn 3 because we were in the last 2 seats of the grandstands. Like the grandstands end and it becomes like camper village on the other side, so there's no other seats. So we
Okay.
were right at the entrance to turn 3 and we could see all the way down the back stretch from the turn 2 to turn 3. I mean, you see the whole track. There's really the only blind spot is behind the screen,
Yeah.
but we could see the whole track except for behind the screen. Unfortunately, behind the screen from where we're sitting was the exit of the dog leg, which is where the accident
Yeah.
happened. But whatever, you can see it on the screen afterwards, so it's fine. And we had a clear view of turn 3 and 4 into the finish line. So that was they were definitely good seats. And the race was good the whole time. It was an entertaining race. There was no real lulls. I mean, the first couple stages were pretty clean. The third stage was anything but. But it went by pretty quick, even though it was a long race. So
Good amount of lead changes and
tons of lead changes. The most cautions of any race at Phoenix ever. Weird tire attrition issues. I don't know what was going on there. The weirdest thing though was watching that like a guy would have a tire would go down, car would go to the wall, yellow would come out, cars going around the track at whatever 55, 65 miles an hour, whatever
yeah.
yellow flag speed is, and then like more tires were exploding under yellow. Never seen that happen before either. So I don't know if it was a combination of a new tire compound, plus they've never run this high of a horsepower package at Phoenix before, and it was just burning through tires faster than they thought they were going to. But it was very bizarre seeing just some of the teams have trouble with tires, and then some of the teams rolled the dice and didn't pit and stayed out there for longer on their tires. And while they ultimately made a poor decision because they fell behind quickly, their tires didn't explode. So who knows? It was a weird setup. So I don't know if you saw that at the end of stage 2, the 60 and the 6 stayed out to flip the stage. Or after yellow. At some point they stayed out
Yeah.
and they were out there on like 10 to 20 lap older tires. And they had said in the broadcast earlier that old tires were good for almost 2 seconds a lap off. And I was like, man, they're really hoping for a quick yellow. But they stayed out there and they went from first and second to dead last within like 5 laps.
Yeah.
It was awful.
There was a lot of strong cars running. I mean,
There were a lot of strong cars running. Yeah. And it seemed like whoever got the lead just drove away every time.
yeah, you got some clean air and because that's a mile and a half track.
It's a 1 mile track.
Oh, 1 mile. Okay. All right, good. Hopefully that bodes well for New Hampshire. Hopefully the racing's good because they'll have the horsepower and
Yeah, I
so
think they're running the same horsepower package in all the 1 mile tracks. So they ran like the full 700 horsepower cars. I think they were more like 500 or 550 last year.
yeah, it's
So
everything.
that's a significant bump.
I think they said everything a mile and a half down. It got more horsepower.
Yeah. Yeah. Which is what you want to see. There was no fuel economy racing at this event. It was all actual racing.
Yeah.
And no matter what time of the race it was, there was racing somewhere on the track. Guys racing for third, guys racing for fifth, guys racing for 15th. It was a really good it was a really good race to watch. It was a perfect first race to bring somebody to. Um, there was just so much going on that it just kept attention the whole time. So, but the facilities at Phoenix, as far as racetracks go, I don't know if New Hampshire has stepped up their game. I haven't been there in a while, but
No. No.
it's a very nice place.
No.
It's a very nice place. Bathrooms are like super clean and like professional. Like it's not gross, dirty sporting stadium feeling at all. It's a very nice place. The food is typical sports event expensive, but there's tons of options for food, and it's a pretty nice place. I enjoyed my time there. I'd like to go to more events there. I wish they had more events there. I'd like to go to more events there.
Yeah, I
So
watched the IndyCar race on TV. Obviously, that was pretty cool.
Yeah, I watched the highlights. That was the weird J turn that one guy did was pretty cool.
Yeah, that was wild that he had the
Yeah.
as the rookie had the foresight. Like they said, he came off the brakes and it kept him
Yep.
off the wall. It's like, oh wow.
Yeah. Take him off the brakes, let it roll backwards, put it back in first gear, and flipped a Rockford turn there, and
Yeah.
got the car going back straight again. Super cool. Something also I've never seen done. But anyway, yeah, Ryan Blaney won the race.
Yeah.
The 45
I really
Reddick was going for his fourth straight and a couple of points in the race. I thought he might have it,
yeah.
but Christopher Bell was really strong, which is not surprising because Christopher Bell is always strong in Phoenix, and Ryan Blaney was really strong, and they gave a heck of a race to get up there at the end, and it was either one of them was going to win in the end. Was pretty much
Yeah.
my
Yeah.
thought process. And
Luckily
then
Ty Gibbs flamed out.
yeah, he still finished like fifth or sixth or something, I think, didn't he?
Yeah.
He still got a top 10.
I
I
think
do like that
SVG did well too, right?
The NASCAR memes account always now has um my reaction to hate watching Ty Gibbs is my
Yeah.
favorite. Every week they post it. And SVG also had a great finish. He was also top 10 at the end of the day.
Yeah,
He spun
he's like
twice, once not his fault, but
he's like the best trackhouse driver right now.
he's definitely their point man. Like he's 100% the guy that they're putting all their money on. And 2311 had a great day too. Both Reddick and Bubba finished top 10. So you can't. I mean, they're kicking butt in the standings this year. Like I don't know, only 4 races in, but it's a strong year for the underdog teams,
When all
and
the
I am
points
here for
matter,
it.
the teams are
Yeah,
doing a lot
every
better.
point matters. Yeah,
So
every point matters.
they got rid of the gimmicks, the win and in gimmick. Now everybody's
Yep.
racing for points. Everybody's racing hard.
Yeah, I think winning the first 3 races of the year is pretty much getting guarantee you in, though.
I would hope so.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, that was yeah, and then just Logano on the pole, and then just getting absolutely wrecked like so hard after pushing through people was very
Well, he
nice.
caused a wreck coming out of the dog leg
Yeah,
himself the previous yellow, so it was his own comeuppance that he got taken out later. I mean, I shouldn't say he got taken out. He caused the accident both times,
yeah,
but whatever.
but
I felt bad for, was it Zilich he took out there or
yeah,
Hocevar? Somebody he took out a couple of good cars. I don't remember who, but I felt bad for the cars he took out. So,
it was
oh
a
no, it
double.
was who was driving the 48 car?
Uh, Alfredo, Tony Pasta.
Tony Pasta, Fast Pasta, they call him. Anthony Alfredo. I felt bad for him because he was actually having a really good showing driving the 48 car, because what's his name is out on basically like concussion, I guess. He's a vertigo,
Yeah,
Alex Bowman, but he was having a really good outing, and he was driving the car very well, and it's cool to see a fill-in driver doing well. And
yeah.
then he got taken out in that backstretch crash pretty heavily.
Hmm.
So thankfully, Bowman wasn't in the car with his concussion
Yeah,
vertigo, but
but it was a double Penske win weekend though. So I think Newgarden won on Saturday. So
it is what it is. Can't win them all. Give Penske a couple, I guess.
yeah, home team, I guess.
Sort of. He's got dealerships here, but that's about as home team as it gets. Home team would have been Michael McDonald.
Yeah,
Mike McDowell, excuse me. He's he's from Glendale. He's a local boy here. But all good. It's a good time. Highly recommended. Go to a race. Check StubHub the night before. Tickets were like half price. Totally worth it. If I hadn't bought a hat, my entire day would have cost me just, eh, not counting the additional ticket for somebody else, the t-shirt and the hat. Like I could have gone to the race for just the $55 plus gas. And
ain't bad.
that's a pretty good all day cost, I think.
Yeah.
So good
All right,
times.
let's get to some questions because we're significantly
Absolutely.
into this. So question time.
Ooh,
You want to go
that's a
for
new
it?
song.
I don't know.
All right. So I'm gonna go to Instagram, and we have 8 posts on Instagram questions, which is pretty good considering the algorithm is terrible at the moment. Eight comments and 12 likes. So it used to be you'd post on Instagram and you get like 100 likes, but not anymore. All right, so let's see. First question. Also, we posted the question to our Discord group. Quick plug: come join our Discord.
We just did
message us on auto off topic Instagram or wherever you contact us normally, and we will give you a link to join the Discord and join the conversation there. These questions all are on Instagram. However, we did instruct anybody on Discord who wanted to ask a question to go to the Instagram page. Judge Mills, who is on our Discord. It's been several years since I've asked Andrew. So, Andrew, this is for you. Has your opinion on the El Camino softened in recent times?
No. I still do not like the car truck hybrid. It's not my thing.
So that is a no.
Nope. Sorry.
Mills and I are pro El Camino. Andrew is anti El Camino.
Just give me a Chevelle. I don't need the back cut off.
Sometimes you gotta haul things with your Chevelle.
No.
Andrew is pro Chevelle with a trailer hitch.
All right. I'll give you that. Yeah.
All right. Ryan.makes. What is everyone's motorsport attendance participation plan for 26? Well, I plan on going to the Phoenix NASCAR race in March. Done.
Okay. Checked off.
You have tickets to New Hampshire, I assume?
I do. I basically have season tickets now.
Okay, excellent. And we both have tickets to NASCAR in San Diego.
Yep.
Which is going to be absolutely amazing.
Yep.
Super looking forward to that. That's a first year for that event. It's replacing the Chicago street race this year. The Chicago race got 3 years and they moved on. And I think there's at least a 2-year deal for San Diego, right?
I think so.
I'm not
sure.
positive. I for at least one, and we're going. So
yeah, so it doesn't matter.
If it's one and done, we will have been there. Yeah.
I'm not thinking about next year.
Yeah. So we have plans for that event. Other motorsports event, I don't have tickets for anything else. I'm probably going to go to the fall race in Phoenix, the NASCAR race here in Phoenix. I don't know what else. I don't really have plans to go to anything else.
Yeah.
Everything else I have plans for this year is I'm doing the DWA Camping While Awesome Rally. I'm doing obviously my own Arizona Rising Sun Rally.
Were you going to come out here for Climb to the Clouds or no?
It's probably not going to happen this year.
Okay.
Just based on everything else.
Yeah.
I have my brain was thinking about this earlier because I was checking my PTO because you were talking about doing a forenoon cup drive for anybody in New England listening that wants to get involved with that. Reach out to Andrew. And I was trying to figure out if I could make it out for a weekend because I'd like to do that with you guys, even if I just ride passenger with people. That'll be fine. So I was trying to think about that, but then I was thinking about Climb to the Clouds. And then I was thinking about August, and I think my trip. Do you know when Climb to the Clouds is? It's in August, right?
Yeah, I think so. I think it's the second week.
Do you know the?
I don't. I've been really bad about keeping track of it. To be honest, even though we have the internet right in front of us.
I'm pulling it up right now.
You got it?
August 7th, 8th, and 9th.
Okay.
So this will be it's basically your birthday. So the issue with that is on August 13th, I am flying to Seattle. And then I'll be in Alaska until the 21st. So I don't know if I'll be able to pull the week before that, go to Massachusetts is going to be the issue. There's only so much PTO and there's only so much available cash for plane tickets. I think is it turns out life costs money, Andrew. I don't like this. Should be free. It's not. So yeah, chances of me at Climb to Clouds are slim because of my trip to Alaska.
Yep.
So
all right, that's fair.
And then also I have 3 days in Oklahoma in May, plus the other rallies in May. And then we're going to NASCAR in, was that June?
Yep.
And then in October, I have all of my stuff. Like I said, my rally here, the other big Japanese car show here. There's so much stuff going on once that end of summer happens. So the one thing I might be able to add to my schedule might be the Forenoon Cup, depending on when it is. If it's in May, probably not. If it's in June, maybe. So we'll see. That's where I'm at as far as events go. I guess the question was motorsports events, so it's kind of a mix of things. There is talk of them doing. It's not. There's not talk. It's actually happening here in Arizona. The Southwest Speed Fest. It's like our local grid life. I would like to go to that this year. One just passed, but I think there's another one coming in the fall. So I can double check about that. That's it. Any extra ones for you? You haven't mentioned yet?
I'm gonna do Grid Life Circuit Legends. Plan on that. That's in August.
Okay.
I won't bother with Watkins Glen this year because I'm going to go to San Diego for NASCAR. I would like to. I don't know if I can swing it, but if I get an IMSA race somewhere at some point, maybe Watkins Glen. That's probably the closest. And then maybe I got to see. I don't know if I can do it, but there's an Indianapolis 8-hour that's in the fall, which I think is different from there's like an IMSA race at Indianapolis, and there's a different endurance series that also races at Indianapolis, but it's in like October. That would be kind of cool, and it's probably inexpensive because it's not the Indy 500. So, um, I don't know, and then definitely
I
climb
mean,
the
even
cloud.
the Indy 500 wasn't expensive.
No, but it's crowded. Like an
Yeah.
endurance race there will not be crowded.
No, there'd be a lot of access, I'm sure, too. It'd be like just like going to Daytona.
Yeah.
Be a good time.
So yeah, that's probably it.
Sounds pretty good. And maybe next year we should pencil in. I could fly out there for Watkins Glen NASCAR weekend because I'd like to go there.
Yeah. Well,
So,
I would really like to. It didn't work out this year. We keep saying it. Long Beach Grand Prix would be nice because that's
yep,
endurance racing, IndyCar, drifting. So
yep, that's a good weekend. Listen, I can drive there in 5 hours, and I haven't done it yet either. So,
yeah, that's the point. I
all
would
right,
probably come out and meet you. So next question, I think, right?
all right. Rob drives slow. Remember back in the late '90s when Nissan restored and sold 240Zs off their showroom floor? If you could pick one manufacturer and one car, what would it be? I'm gonna say hard mode, no Mitsubishis.
Oh, okay. Fine.
This would be Evo or Starion instantly.
Yeah. I'll let you answer first.
Well, I don't have an answer either.
You don't have an answer either? All right.
I listen. What one car brand new off the showroom floor that I'd like to own? That's not a Mitsubishi or a Mitsubishi cross-branded Dodge product. I mean, the 240Z is already a good answer, and the obvious step from a 240Z is a Datsun 510. That would be an amazing car.
Yep.
I would think something like a Mini Cooper would do very well as far as like a company decision and making money on
Yeah.
something. But I feel like Mini Coopers are almost still too common, and there's too many companies doing that kind of build to a Mini Cooper. So maybe not. Um, Volkswagen would probably do very well selling Beetles,
Yeah.
like remanufactured by Volkswagen Beetles. But I think that my answer would be a Mark II GTI.
Oh yeah. Okay. That's pretty cool.
That's still a bucket list car. I owned one for a short period of time, but I never drove it because I bought it blown up. I put it back together. If you remember, we got it running off ether. Had some fuel delivery issues, and then somebody randomly drove by my dad's house and saw it sitting out front and offered to buy it. So we sold it.
Yeah.
I don't know if you remember that story. It
I
was
don't
that
remember that part,
burgundy.
but
Yeah, it was kind of a metallic red. I can't think of the name of the color now. I used to know the name of the color, but it was an 87 16 valve GTI. So it was really the first car I ever bought broken to fix. Um, and kind of got it mostly done. It just had rusty fuel lines needing to be replaced. But yeah, the guy from Euro House down off of North Street for some reason drove by our parents' house and saw it sitting there and like knocked on the door and offered twice what I had into it without me ever finishing it. So it went away. So, but yeah, a Mark II GTI I think would be a pretty good. I think there's enough people that would also buy those. Like there's enough Volkswagen nerds or people that love those cars that two things would be good about that. One, they'd be able to sell them. And two, they might start reproducing some of the parts that are maybe harder to find now. And maybe Volkswagen would sell those. But I think a Mark II GTI would be the move. I'd say a Mark One, but I think the Mark II is more substantial of a car. And if you're going to sell something to people as a fully rebuilt car, I think having the more modern feel of the Mark II, which I mean, it doesn't sound like much going from 84 to 85, but there's a big shift in those two cars. So I think that would be pretty cool. Obviously, my answer is Starion, but that's that's the easy mode answer.
yeah. I mean, it's kind of funny we talk about this, but it is currently being done by like places like Built by Legends, right? So
Yeah,
like,
I do GTRs.
yeah, I'm not gonna go with a GTR, but if I could have something brand new or like ultra new, I do like an Integra Type R. I think,
Yeah, Integras is probably a great choice. Maybe not even necessarily Type Rs, but if they built like some top spec GSRs,
or even
I
if I could have a factory fresh version of my SI, that would
yeah,
be like nostalgia trip, amazing. And that was
yeah, and
just a
that's
really
also a
good car the
car.
way it was. Yeah,
That's also a car that I think they'd have no problem moving if they did it. So yeah, I've heard that the other version of this question is what car would you singerize, right? Put all the extra work into it, modernize, and make it special. And I think this is a better version of that question because you're not taking something and making it unobtainable. You're just restoring a car back to factory fresh and selling it pretty much as new. So I like that. But yeah, I stand by Mark II. Mark II is still on my Mica Red. That was the color of my car.
okay.
I stand by my still wanting one. Um, honestly think they would make a pretty good daily driver out here because they wouldn't rust out here, and they're a fun little runabout that gets decent gas mileage and is fairly reliable when built properly. So, next question from the Stylus guy: If you both, oop, restart that question.
Yeah,
I want you both.
you get it.
So I apologize because I think he fat figured something here, so I'm having a hard time reading it.
It says, "I
I
want you
want you
both."
both to share
Yeah.
your automotive Captain Picard moment, meaning what was the thing that changed your life forever in terms of your taste in cars, or perhaps the event that launched you down the path you've chosen. Was it a specific model, an experience, or other? Think back and pick out the one thing that, if it was deleted from your personal history, would unravel the tapestry of your life as you know it.
You want me to go first?
Well, we've talked about this question before
We have.
in other degrees.
We'd have
What
the same
brought us
answer.
down the what
I don't
brought
know
us on the
that.
path of cars that we're on is Gran Turismo, right?
Yep.
Gran Turismo and Japanese car model kits. That's what
That
really
is
did
what
it.
did it. It was like
But
what? Sorry. Go ahead.
if there was one moment that would 100% change everything, it would be not buying my Talon, because
Okay.
it was
All right.
buying my Eagle Talon that dove me into this world of Mitsubishis.
Okay.
The car was broken all the time. It bled me dry. I was out of money as a young man. I took up my first personal loan to fix it once. Like it was a mess. But it's what opened me up to learning about Starions, which you all know my Starion worship at this point. And then my love of Starions opened me up to my love of Colts. And then when we wanted to get into off-roading, I was like, might as well get into Mitsubishis. And then
Yeah.
it was Raiders and Monteros and Ram 50 pickups. And all of that can lead back to my Talon. Also, what can lead back to my Talon is your Talon, which might
Yes.
also. So me
Yes and
not
no.
buying my first Talon, you might not have the Gallant or your Talon or your
Yeah.
Montero.
Yeah, that's possible. I might have been more Subarus first, even though I ended up at
Yep.
Subarus anyways. But it was definitely because I'm a little bit
Or
younger.
you could have gone hard. You could have gone hard down the road of Volvo because you were into Volvos when you were younger too,
Yeah.
or still.
Yeah, and I was a little bit younger though, but buying that first, well, that PS1, and then playing Rage Racer, and then
Yep.
playing Gran Turismo back in like 98, 99. That was like, whoa, there's
Yeah.
all these cars that are not muscle cars.
And if you never had
Um,
the Talon, and I never had my Talon, maybe when you got your Honda, you would have stuck with Hondas. You know.
yeah, we made that. It was like having the game and then you buying that car. Then we made the connection of like, wait a minute, we recognize the 4G63 from reading the little description in Gran Turismo. That's the same thing.
Mhm.
These are related.
It
So
was the
yeah,
closest thing to an Evo we could put our hands on at the
yeah,
time. And that's really where it came from because I wanted an Evo or a Subaru. And the Subarus that they sold here at the time that were in my price range were lame. I mean, I probably could have afforded a 2.5 RS from the 90s, but it wasn't a turbo. It wasn't the same.
they're
So
cool now.
Mitsubishi's it was.
We know good.
Oh, it's very cool now that we know. But at the time, it was like I didn't want the non-turbo. I wanted
I
the
want
all-wheel
a
drive
turbo.
turbo car.
Yeah,
Yeah. We lived in New England. It was snowing. I wanted a car with all-wheel drive traction, and I wanted a turbo. That being said, and I've probably talked about it on the podcast before, I cross-shopped the three most unrelated cars of all time when I bought that car. This also will date me because I had a $3,000 budget, and in this $3,000 budget, there were three cars that I test drove. One was in 1990, so this is in 1999. One is a 1990 Eagle Talon. So it's a 9-year-old car for $3,000 with less than 100,000 miles on it. The other was a 1984 Volkswagen Rabbit GTI in the classic black with the red like velour stylish, or velour style or crushed whatever cloth material on the interior. And the third car was a 1967 Pontiac Le Mans with a, which is basically it was a quote unquote clone GTO. Um, was also $3,000. So those three cars couldn't be like one rear wheel drive V8, one front wheel drive 1.8 liter, and one all wheel drive turbocharged 2 liter. They were all manual transmissions. I couldn't drive any of them because I had not learned how to drive a manual with much. I knew how to drive a manual from driving my dad's Jeep around parking lots, but I'd never really driven a manual. They were all manuals. They were all ready to go. They did not need anything, and they were all $3,000. That's a ridiculous choice of cars to have for $3,000. And that's all I had was $3,000. So any dime above $3,000 meant I wasn't buying the car. And those were the three cars. So I still haven't scratched that Volkswagen GTI itch, and I want to. I don't really have an itch for a 67 Pontiac Le Mans or GTO. I like them, but had I bought that car, we would be in a very, I would at least be in a very different place automotive wise because I already had my Camaro, and I already had my '85 Cutlass, and if I had gotten rid of that one Talon and had gone with a Lamar, I could be a Marlboro smoking, Budweiser drinking muscle car guy. But probably not those other things, but you know what I
yeah.
mean.
This further, every time I talk about this time period, I'm like, yeah, we peaked. We peaked in the year 2000.
Only pretty much, yeah, yeah. But I mean, just And I think we talked about this before, like just the fact that I was able to buy a 9-year-old all-wheel drive turbocharged 5-speed car that was like the peak of its thing with less than 100,000 miles on it for $3,000 is an absurdity in today's market because a 9-year-old WRX, the equivalent car, is $26,000 probably.
Yeah, exactly.
So dumb. Anyway, that's I think the answer there. Do you have any other thing to add to that before
No, that's
we
it.
move on? Yeah. So one Eagle Talon did the whole thing, which I constantly say I should maybe get rid of my Eclipse and go back to a first gen Eagle Talon all-wheel drive turbo and just kind of like have it back in my life. But who knows? It'd be so much better now at maintaining it and keeping it running. And I still have the wheels that I bought for that car, so I can just replicate the car immediately. Be very of the era because the wheels are very 1999 2000, but I think that'd be okay. All right, Daytona Turbo responds to the stylus guy, and he says, in a very unserious manner, if you had to hit your hand with a hammer or drive only the stylus guy's stylus for the rest of your life, would you use a ball peen or a framing hammer? And Daytona Turbo, I'm sure he knows that we love the stylus guy and we love the stylus guy's stylus. So we would just drive the stylus.
I would choose
You basically
stylus.
do anyway. Yeah, your G20 is basically the same car,
Yeah.
the same recipe anyway. So I still want to drive that stylus. It looks like a fun car, and I'd love to compare it to your G20 because your G20 still remains to this day the most fun front wheel drive car I've ever driven. So, Disco Steve, which senses matter to you the most in regards to automotive enthusiasm? The smell of an old car, the feeling of a nice steering wheel or shift knob, the sound of the induction and exhaust, etc. What, as our friends over at Driving While Awesome say, what sense of occasion uh, matters most to you as an automotive enthusiast?
It's pretty easy. I'm a simple guy. I like an induction and exhaust noise, and I have
Yep.
several of my cars have different versions of these things. Either they have a good induction noise or they have a good exhaust noise. Some have both. So that's where I'm at.
Yep. I like a nice steering wheel and a nice shift knob, but I also don't care that much. A lot of my cars have stock steering wheels. Like my 78 Colt has this terrible plastic thin steering wheel, and I love the car. The Camaro has a very pretty wood rimmed rally wheel. It's terribly uncomfortable, and its metal spokes are painful when the wheel returns. Doesn't matter. The car sounds amazing. Um, and with the Colt, it's just a combination of how the car feels around me. It's a combination of all those things. Like I probably will change the steering wheel eventually, but the way the car, I can't even tell you what is that car. Just the way that car speaks to me, it's my favorite car. I don't even have one sense because it smells terrible. It isn't comfortable. Who knows? But yeah, I would agree with you. It's exhaust. I mean, I spent 5 minutes talking about how amazing the Merkur sounds now. So yeah, I love the sound of the exhaust, and I love a good turbo spool sound, which the Merkur has in spades. Um, and I love a good natural overrun, not a crackle tune BMW, but like just that little bit of little pop on decel is perfect. Like it's great. Final question. It's perfect that you have a 944 in the picture because I came here to talk about cheap Porsches that often wind up being kind of expensive. Such satisfying cars, though. That's not really a question, but I can tell you that if you do your own maintenance, a Porsche 944 is not an expensive car. Um, there's a lot of talk about Porsche tax and this, that, and the other thing, but there's enough shared parts on that car and there's enough maintenance stuff out there. That stuff is not expensive. I've done a lot of maintenance on the car, and it costs more than, say, the maintenance on a Starion. But at the end of the day, it's not out of your own capable hands of repair. There's nothing on the car that's incredibly complicated. I got in my own head a little bit about doing the timing belt job, only because I was nervous about doing a timing belt job on a car that was a Porsche. But when Josh came by and we tackled it together, it turned out to be very similar to a Mitsubishi timing belt job, minus the twin cam factor. So it was actually even easier. So it wasn't difficult at all. And I don't think there's been anything on the car that's cost parts wise more than, $100. It hasn't been a very expensive car to maintain. It's got a universal Bosch fuel pump. Fuel filter was $10. Oil filters are $10. I spent a little bit more money on oil because I put the liquid moly in it, but control arms are like $70. You can't buy calipers. Calipers are expensive, but you can buy rebuild kits for sub $20. So if you're handy, there's nothing in the Porsche that cost a lot of money as far as normal maintenance goes. Um, Clutch jobs are expensive, but again, if you're handy, you can do that on your own. I haven't, to be fair, I haven't broken into like the engine, like pistons or valves or cams or stuff like that. That could be more money. I don't know for a fact, but if the Porsche blew up tomorrow, um, I probably would just throw that engine in the trash anyway and put a inline five Volkswagen motor in it. But because they make a kit for that now, so
Mm.
yeah, I don't think it's that expensive. I think if you want a 944, I think go buy one now because
Mm.
I feel like the Porsche tax is gonna hit them soon. It hasn't yet. You can still buy a decent driver for 5 to 10 grand. So, in fact, if you want to talk, give me a call. That car is for sale. So we'll definitely we can make a deal if you're actually in the market for a Porsche, and that one doesn't need the expensive services by somebody else because I've already done them. So, and actually, I think the clutch is also fairly new because I think previous owner Bradley did the clutch not long before I got the car. So it doesn't need any of the expensive stuff. But yeah, don't be afraid of 944 ownership as far as money goes. It's not bad. So 911 stuff probably more money, but I don't have the experience, so I can't actually tell you. And I never will because the cars cost too much. But if you want a Porsche, if you want a 944, they're becoming more accepted in the Porsche circles now. You can go to a Porsche event without being laughed at. They accept you in there. Um, it is a fun car to drive, even more so now that I put less sticky tires on it, which I think, Andrew, you have to drive the car before I sell it because I want you to feel the difference.
Okay.
Um, it's a totally different car with a normal set of tires on it. So anyway, that's the final statement slash question of the evening. So
All right.
I think we can call that an episode.
Yeah. So if you want to interact with us, come join us in the Discord. Message us, and we'll give you an invite. Yeah, we're always posting stuff in there. It's the cool hangout spot. But if you're not following us on Instagram, follow us there. It feels redundant to tell people because it feels like if you're listening to this podcast, you're probably following you and I on Instagram. But
Maybe.
yeah, maybe. I've been posting some stuff to the Scale Autocast YouTube channel. I've been trying to do some more videos about the different RC cars. I did a long video it's like a straight video of just building one of those 1/32 scale Aoshima snap kits of an 8086. It's just entirely me just building it. I was like, well, see, some people like to watch that stuff. So,
There are two guys that build model cars on Instagram, on YouTube,
yep,
and they post like an hour-long video. And
yeah,
I have been known to put those videos on in the background and just while I'm working or something, just have that video playing because it's kind of like it's pleasing to watch. They don't even talk much during the build. They just have a camera on their forehead or something, and they just build the car. And it's not something I would sit down and watch, but to have it on as like a background sometimes while I'm working, it's kind of nice. And you get a little insight into the quality of certain kits if they're actually good or not based on because they will stop and be like, this kit sucks or this kit was a pleasure.
yeah,
So people are into that.
yeah, they are.
Maybe I'll watch yours.
Yeah, go for it. All right. But yeah, you can find me on Instagram, Race and Anger. We have Auto Off Topic on Instagram, Scale Autocasts. Yeah, I put a bunch of pictures on. Uh, oh, it's on my personal Facebook. I figured that was the easiest way. I haven't really been using the Race and Anger page that much, but yeah, there's a bunch of pictures from the drift event. I put some on Instagram. Yeah, Brad, where can they find you?
They can find me also on Instagram, TSISS350. I actually did break out the diecast photo booth today, and I took some pictures of some diecast to post starting tomorrow, hopefully.
Yeah, put
So
them on
there'll be
there.
some more diecast content coming up. Yeah, I took the initiative today, Andrew, on my lunch break to snap some pictures because there's so many new Starion's Conquest Talons and Eclipses from Auto World, and I was like, we haven't taken pictures of many of these yet, so
Yep.
we need some of them out there.
All
It's a
right,
good time to
cool.
be a Mitsubishi enthusiast in
It
the
is.
diecast world.
All right. As always, keep cars analog and aim for the roses.